Hi, Mark Gilbert here, and in this video I want to share some thoughts that are coming up for me regarding the acceptance of teachings by other spiritual teachers. This came up for me recently when I was viewing another teacher of mine who did a video where someone asked him, "Why are we here?" And at the beginning of his answer he reiterated that no teacher can tell you why you're here. You have to come to that realization for yourself through your own life experiences. He then went on to give some thoughts regarding why he thought we were here. So in a sense, he did answer the question. That got me to thinking about some advice I gave in one of my videos a number of months ago about finding and being a spiritual teacher, where I made the same recommendation that if you find somebody telling you that they've got all of the truth, all of the wisdom, that you should run fast from them, or at least employ some strong discernment on what they're saying to see if it really resonates with you. I think that spiritual teachers can give us important wisdom, and I've gotten a lot from many of the teachers that I have encountered along the way. But I also held a degree of discernment based on my own experiences and my own background to see if what they were saying and what they were teaching resonated with me. Did it hold truth for me? As I was reflecting upon this, what came up for me was the teaching of Krishnamurti, who many years ago most famously put out the statement that truth is a pathless land. Now, that at first blush, that seems kind of contradictory to the statement that we're on a spiritual path. And in fact, the point that Krishnamurti was trying to make was that others were trying to hold him up, the Theosophists specifically, as the one great true spiritual teacher for the ages. Now, ultimately, Krishnamurti was a wonderful and great spiritual teacher. But what he was trying to say to those people who were holding him out as the one teacher, the only teacher, is that no spiritual teacher is that person. That there is no one path for every person to be walking. So when we say we're on the spiritual path, it's our path. And at times our paths may coincide with other people, and it may appear that we're walking along in the same general direction and following one another in the same steps. But there's also plenty of times that our paths diverge. And in some cases it may seem like we're walking parallel or totally different paths. The fact is, when Krishnamurti says that truth is a pathless land, what he is saying is that there are many, many paths, and that all of these paths lead to the truth. Ultimately, what is the truth? That's something we have to find for ourselves through our own life experiences. The truth that somebody who is, say, fundamentalist religious person might be seeking a truth that might be totally different from somebody who I would categorize as a scientific materialist. The first is seeking truth through the teachings of their particular faith, and in that, finding what resonates with them, absorbing it into their lives, and walking that path. But that path may seem totally different for the person who's very much sees truth in rational thought and scientific testing of things. And for the scientific materialist, religious dogma would have no truth for them in many cases. There's also a third broad, large group that I frequently mention in these videos, and that's the cultural creatives or the postmodern individuals who are considering themselves spiritual but not religious. These people see the truths and beauty in many of the religious faiths, but they look at the common threads that those faiths offer, not the dogma of the rules that many religions teach that you have to accept, but the underlying truths, what Aldous Huxley called the perennial teachings, or the perennial truth. Underlying all religious faith is a common denominator of certain teachings that often can hold truth for all of us. So the three large groups that I'm mentioning, the fundamentalist religious, the scientific materialist, or the cultural creative, and there are other stages as well, both lower and quote-unquote higher on this evolutionary spiral. Each person, no matter where they are in their consciousness on that path, is walking a path. And all of our paths are, in a sense, heading in the same general direction. And that's towards truth. So when Krishnamurti said truth is a pathless land, what he was really getting at is that the direction that we're all heading in, which is truth for you and truth for me, is generally in the same direction. But where we are walking and what we're accepting in this moment is our truth, and what is needed for us on the next step of our path can vary so greatly that if any one person, myself included, tries to say that this is the truth for all people, then they're misguided in such actions. There are many spiritual teachers, many people who hold themselves out as quote-unquote gurus, who say that they are holding the one great truth. There are many religious people who say this as well. But my guidance and what I know to be true is that although we may all be walking in the same general direction, we're at different spots on the path. And what's resonating with me might not be resonating with you as truth. What's needed for my next step may not be what's needed for you for your next step. And so we each need to walk our own paths in our own way. So in all of my videos, please hold in the back of your mind that as I share what I find to be true and what I've come to believe about life, that there is no expectation that I am giving this to you as the only truth. If it resonates with you and feels true for you, then that's great. Take what works for you from that. But if it doesn't, discard it and find those teachers and those paths and those truths that do resonate with you at this next step. That's where you need to be. I believe that's what I'm called to share in this video, so I'll end it here. Until next time, thanks for watching.